World War I, A Complete History. Introduction. World War I. World War I, also known as the Great War, was one of the most devastating conflicts in human history. It occurred from 1914 to 1918 and involved many of the world's great powers. The war marked a significant shift in international relations and had far-reaching effects on global politics, economics, and societies. This conflict reshaped the map of Europe, led to the collapse of empires, and set the stage for World War II. Causes of World War I. 1. Militarism. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw a dramatic increase in military build-up across Europe. The major powers, particularly Germany, Britain, and France, were engaged in an arms race to build more powerful militaries and advanced weaponry. This heightened tension and the belief in the necessity of war as a means of resolving conflicts. 2. Alliances. By the early 1900s, two major alliance systems had formed in Europe. The Triple Alliance, consisting of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, was created to counterbalance the growing power of France, Russia, and Britain. In 1907, Britain, France, and Russia formed the Triple Entente, creating a divide between the two sides. These alliances meant that any localized conflict could escalate into a much larger war. 3. Imperialism. European powers were engaged in a race for colonies, particularly in Africa and Asia. These imperial rivalries often created conflicts over territory and resources, fostering a sense of competition and mistrust between the nations. 4. Nationalism. Nationalism, the belief in the superiority and interests of one's nation, was growing, especially in the Balkans. Many ethnic groups in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, such as Serbs, desired independence, leading to increased instability in the region. Nationalism also fueled tensions between major powers, particularly between Germany and France, due to historical grievances like the Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 1871. 5. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The immediate cause of World War I was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, by a Serbian nationalist, Gavrilo Princip, on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo. Austria-Hungary, with Germany's backing, issued an ultimatum to Serbia, which eventually led to war. The outbreak of war. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand triggered a series of diplomatic and military responses. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. Russia, allied with Serbia, began to mobilize its forces. Germany, supporting Austria-Hungary, declared war on Russia on August 1. France, allied with Russia, was then drawn into the conflict when Germany declared war on France on August 3. On August 4, Germany's invasion of Belgium brought Britain into the war, as it had a treaty to defend Belgian neutrality. Within days, the world was plunged into a full-scale war. The major fronts. 1. The Western Front. The majority of the fighting on the Western Front occurred in France and Belgium. After Germany's initial invasion of France, the war settled into a prolonged stalemate with trench warfare. Soldiers lived in deplorable conditions in deep trenches, facing constant artillery bombardments, poison gas attacks, and machine gun fire. The front line stretched from the North Sea to Switzerland, and little ground was gained over the years. 2. The Eastern Front. On the Eastern Front, the war was more fluid. Germany and Austria-Hungary fought against Russia, and the battles were larger in scale but less entrenched. The Russian army, despite its large size, was poorly equipped and often suffered defeats. Eventually, Russia's internal problems, including widespread dissatisfaction and the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917, led to its withdrawal from the war. 3. The Italian Front. Italy, originally part of the Triple Alliance, switched sides in 1915, joining the Triple Entente. The Italian army fought Austria-Hungary in the Alps, experiencing heavy losses, especially at the Battle of Caporetto in 1917. The front was characterized by mountainous terrain and difficult conditions. For other fronts, the war also spread to the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. British forces fought the Ottoman Empire, which had joined the Central Powers. In Africa, colonial forces clashed, while in Asia, Japan took advantage of the war to seize German territories. The United States enters the war. The United States initially maintained a policy of neutrality, though it had strong economic ties to the Allied powers, particularly Britain and France. However, several factors led to American involvement in 1917. Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare, which targeted American merchant ships, angered the U.S. The most notable incident was the sinking of the Lusitania, a British passenger ship, in 1915, killing 128 Americans. In addition, the Zimmermann telegram, in which Germany proposed a military alliance with Mexico against the U.S., further inflamed American public opinion. President Woodrow Wilson asked Congress to declare war on Germany on April 6, 1917. The entry of the United States provided a significant boost to the weary Allied forces and played a crucial role in tipping the balance of power in favor of the Allies. The war ends. By 1918, the war had taken a heavy toll on all sides. The Central Powers were exhausted, and internal dissent was growing. In November 1918, after a series of military defeats and revolutions, Germany sought an armistice. The war officially ended on November 11, 1918, with the signing of the Armistice of Compiègne. The Central Powers had been defeated, and the Allied forces emerged victorious. The aftermath. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war. The treaty imposed heavy reparations and territorial losses on Germany, which sowed the seeds of resentment that would contribute to the rise of Adolf Hitler and the outbreak of World War II. The Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, and German empires were dismantled, and new nations were formed in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. The war had devastating human costs, with an estimated 10 million military deaths and 7 million civilian deaths. The physical and emotional scars of the war were deeply felt across Europe. Economically, the war drained the resources of the major powers and set the stage for the global economic depression of the 1930s. Conclusion. World War I was a turning point in history. It not only changed the political landscape of Europe but also had a profound impact on global economics, technology, and society. The war's legacies, including the Treaty of Versailles, the rise of new ideologies, and the eventual emergence of World War II, shaped the course of the 20th century. The Great War stands as a reminder of the destructive power of nationalism, militarism, and unresolved international conflicts. World War I, 1914 to 1918, played a crucial role in shaping the conditions that led to World War II. The aftermath of the First World War created a deeply unstable political and economic landscape in Europe, with several key lessons and consequences. 1. Treaty of Versailles, 1919. The treaty officially ended World War I, but imposed harsh penalties on Germany. These included massive reparations, territorial losses, and military restrictions. The humiliation and economic strain it caused fostered resentment and a desire for revenge, especially in Germany, contributing to the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. 2. Economic instability. The war devastated economies, and the Great Depression of the 1930s further worsened the situation. Germany, already suffering from the war's effects, faced hyperinflation and unemployment, which contributed to widespread discontent and allowed extremist ideologies to flourish. 3. Rise of totalitarianism. The aftermath of World War I saw the collapse of empires, e.g., the Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires, and the rise of totalitarian regimes. Leaders like Hitler in Germany, Mussolini in Italy, and militarists in Japan capitalized on the instability, using nationalism and militarism to gain power. 4. Weak League of Nations. The League of Nations, established to promote peace and prevent future wars, was ineffective. Its inability to prevent the rise of aggressive nations or enforce international law allowed dictatorships to expand unchecked. In sum, The punitive peace settlements, economic hardships, and political instability that followed World War I set the stage for the rise of fascism and militarism, leading to the outbreak of World War II in 1939. The lessons of World War I, especially the need for just and lasting peace, were largely ignored, paving the way for another devastating global conflict.